Hello everybody. Welcome all yogis to this class. This is a hip class and a hip restoration class actually. I'm coming to you from Colorado National Monument, high on a plateau above the little town of Fruita, Colorado. It's also near Grand Junction, Colorado, so I hope you enjoy the view. And considering the fact that this is a hip opening class, maybe this expansive view behind me can offer you some mental space that you can add along with hopefully the physical space that we'll be gaining. So, yogi teacher's confession. I'm actually recovering from a hip injury that I had about a week or so ago. I got injured on a dance floor, so there are worse places to be injured, so I'm not complaining about that. However, it's been about a week. I had some limited mobility that I've never really experienced before, and I've been slowly moving my hip. It's my left hip. I've been slowly moving it to get some range of motion laterally and a little bit diagonally. And of course, it just takes time for your body to heal, so you have to hold back. I haven't been running. I haven't been really exercising. You need to hold back and let your body do its work. And so as a yoga teacher, it was interesting for me to experience something that's sort of debilitating for the first time that I can remember anyway. And it has stopped my practice while my body's been healing. So today with you, I want to do what is really going to be my first full yoga practice. It's going to be gentle, of course, but it's a hip opening class because I do want to focus on giving my hip more range of motion now that the pain is gone mostly, and the healing has taken place. So what I want to talk to you about is the importance of our hips. And in yoga, we say the hips are the junk drawer to our emotions. And there is a real physical anatomy portion of how that really is true. And let me start by talking to you about when we have tight hips, that means our psoas muscle is tight. And our psoas muscle is it's a group of muscles on the first or the lowest 5 vertebrae, the lumbar vertebrae of the spine. And they kind of network down, and they group together, and they insert at the top of your femur. And you can feel that very easily if you find your hip and just lift your leg. That little group of muscles right there, that is your psoas muscles. And they are responsible for our fight or flight response in our body. Our fight or flight response is when we fight, when you're fearful or you're startled or you're being threatened, you either fight, you kick and fight, you run, the flight, or you stand your ground. And so the hips connect your cerebral and your visceral organs to your legs, and the legs are what do that work. I have some notes here because I want to make sure I'm getting all my points across. So your hips bear your weight, right? They stabilize your core and obviously control the movement of your legs for the fight or flight response. When your psoas muscles are tight, of course you don't have the same flexibility to respond to situations that give you emotional angst. So that can create more pain, limited mobility, and bad stability, bad posture. If your psoas muscles in the front are tight and you sort of lean over, of course now your spine is not aligned properly. So standing straight and really having your pelvis forward and having open psoas muscles is very important. The other thing, this is the anatomical part. Your kidneys are nestled in the back in your psoas muscles. And more importantly, it's your adrenal glands, right? Your adrenal glands are there, and they are exactly what controls your fight or flight response. So in order to give the room and the space of this area of the body for those glands and organs, you need to have more loose hips. So you've probably had that feeling before, maybe when you've got to have a tough discussion with someone, or maybe you're nervous because you're doing a public speaking event or something that makes you gut wrench. We have that saying, oh, my stomach hurts, butterflies in my stomach. This is really part of that fight or flight response. It's part of that work of the psoas and a tightening of your hips. And when people say take deep breaths, why would you do that? Because you stand up, you expand the belly, and you relax the lower portion of your torso. You're giving more space, more relaxation, and that really is part of the hips. And it gives you, of course, you're getting oxygen when you breathe deeply, and that slows your heart rate and helps you calm. But really, it's a universal thing when people say, I had that pit in my stomach, that in my gut. And that really is part of this area of the body. Hence, why we call it the emotional junk drawer, because you can really store tightness and emotion here. There are actually studies showing that poor posture relates to stress, fatigue, headaches, and with, of course, yoga. We promote yoga, we practice yoga. With flexibility and openness in the hips, you can overcome some of these sort of things, right? The other ethereal, I guess, aspect of this is the heart of your sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is your sexuality, your emotions, your intuitions. It is responsible for how you perceive other people's emotions as well. So to have an awareness and a calm around your sacral chakra, it just makes you more calm, more aware of others, more aware of your own emotions. And of course, our visceral organs are the front side of the body. You know, our first response if we were to be attacked is to curl over and hide and hunch, right? And that is using your psoas muscle, and that is the action of your hip that you can help protect the visceral side of your body, so your back is out to protect you. So, having said all that, I want this to be a hip opening class, whether you're recovering from an injury or whether you want to just have some more flexibility and open your hips. I'm welcoming you to join, of course. So let's first just begin sitting in a easy seated cross-legged posture. Now this isn't always easy for everyone. Maybe you have a block or prop you can put under your legs to hold your knees up. But just sit gently, sit up straight with your back nice and tall. We'll be doing some warm-up, just general warm-up, and then I'll go into some hip postures. These are specifically hip postures. They may not be any particular flowing kind of order. This will be a little bit more like a hatha class where we're going from posture to posture to posture. But I want to focus on postures that are good for the hips, so you have something to reflect on in the future if you want to come back to this class and work on your hips specifically. But let's first start by just coming to the mat. After hearing all that information, you can listen to it again, so just kind of clear your mind of that and just focus on the relaxation for you. Sitting up nice and straight, shoulders down the back, chest open, back of the neck is nice and tall like there's a string out the top of your neck, and just sit comfortably. Breathing through the low belly. Expand the low belly, inhaling through the nose and exhaling, pulling the belly button in and exhaling through the nose. With your eyes closed, just listen to your own breath. Listen to the sounds around you and continue breathing. Inhale, big fat low belly. Exhale, release. Inhale, big fat low belly. Exhale, pull the belly button in. Shoulders are relaxed. Let's just gently open your eyes, bring your hands in prayer position at your heart chakra. Again, with controlled breath, let's inhale up, look up, reach up, arms open to the side with energy in the fingertips, looking down the side, our hands down the side, chin down. Inhale up, chin up. Exhale down, hands down. Inhale, chin up. Exhale, chin down, arms down. We've got a lot of energy. Inhale up. This time drop your right hand behind your back and turn to the left. Sitting up nice and straight. Dropping that right shoulder down the back. That right hand close to the hips, so you're sitting up nice and straight. We'll just get the spine warmed up a little bit here. Chin all the way off to the right. Eyes even, all the way to the corner of the socket. They are a muscle as well. And breathe, of course. Let's inhale that left hand up, straight up to the sky. Reach, 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 reach. And now drop it by your hip, behind you. Both hands really close to the hips. Shoulder blades together, open your heart chakra, maybe even drop your head back, chin up, throat chakra open, and release the right hand up to the sky. And at the same time, we're going to twist off to the left. Hand goes outside the knee, so you go to twist, chin all the way to the left, eyes to the corner of the socket. Shoulders are dropped, belly is in, flat back. Let's inhale that right hand up, looking forward, reaching tall, and then drop it back behind your hips. Once again, shoulder blades together, chest open, clavicles, throat chakra. If your head or neck hurts at all, you can always tuck your chin and still bring your heart chakra forward and bring those shoulder blades together. No matter where you are, let's release that left hand, reaching up to the sky, turning off to the right one more time. Chin to the right, sitting up nice and straight. Left hand up. Pushing your, maybe you even bend your elbows. Shoulder blades very close together. Can you bring them closer, like you're going to hold a pencil between your shoulder blades? And release the right hand up to the sky and twist off to the left. Beautiful. Inhale the right hand up. Bring it behind you one more time. We're going to lean back, bring those shoulder blades together. Bring the weight forward, hands up to the sky, in prayer position, down the heart line. And just drop your hands in front of you, leaning forward. Shimmy and shake. Now, any forward bending is always going to involve the hips, right? This is stretching the low back, the lumbar, the kidney area, the opposite side of the psoas muscle, which is on the front side of the body. You can shimmy and shake your head and shoulders. Stretching that low spine, staying nice and low. Let's come up on our fingertips like there's a ball under the palm of your hands. And you're active now, and you push your fingertips into the earth. Rock your hips back. You feel a little bit more opening in that kidney area, that low back area, right where the lumbar spine attaches to the pelvis. And let's march off to the right, staying nice and low. Maybe that left hand stretches a little further than you think. Dropping the left shoulder, lifting the right. Again, we're making space in the kidney area back there. And of course, the adrenal gland, we learned. Marching back to the center. And off to the other side. Maybe that right hand goes a little further. Drop the right shoulder, lift the left. And breathe. Got it. Marching back to the center. Pushing the hips back so your fingertips are nice into the earth. Pushing your hips back. Shake your head left and right. You got it. And let's walk our hands up. Sitting nice and tall, arms out to the side, reaching up, and hands down the heart line. Let's extend our legs out in front of us. It's a little slow here because it's the first time maybe. Flexing your feet, you can always micro bend your knees too. Pull the flesh behind you. Reaching up nice and tall. And just gently fall forward and see what that feels like for you today. There's no prize that your legs are straight, but if you want to try and straighten your legs, you'll be getting a better stretch up the back of the legs. Favor if you have any injuries. Favor if you have any past things that happen. Maybe you have a current injury of some sort. Shimmy the shoulders. And your left and right side will not be the same. Mine certainly are not right now. Let's walk your hands up. Place your hands behind your, or at your hips, and then 2 handprints behind. So we're kind of opening. Point your toes. Really try and get the tops of your toes towards the mat. Engage the kneecaps. Engage the thighs. Really, you feel some heat there. And now let's flex the feet. So that means your toes towards your nose. Maybe your heels come off the mat. You've still got the kneecaps and thighs engaged. Push into the earth with your hands so your chest chakra, or your chest is open, your heart chakra. Let's point one more time. And let's flex one more time. Engaging the weight now into the palm of our hands. We're going to point the toes and push into the earth, reverse plank. This is opening the hips on the front side from a forward folding position. And drop your seat down, flexing the toes. One more time, point the toes. We'll push the hips up. Drop the head back if you're comfortable. Strengthen the arms, drop the seats down. Flex the feet. Let's raise our hands up over our head and then fall forward. Now you open the back side of the body again. Hatha is the yin and yang. The sun and the moon, the hot and the cold, opposites, right? The masculine and the feminine. So we stretch the front side, we stretch the back side. It's complementary, right? Let's walk our hands up to seated and bend your knees and put your soles of your feet on the earth. You might turn your hands backwards. Let's bring our feet as wide as your mat. It's very important. Keep your feet nice and wide here because we are going to work on the hips. Your toes might be touching the grass or the carpet or wherever you're practicing, outdoors, indoors. Maybe you're on some little red sand and dirt like I am. With your legs nice and wide, drop the knees off to the left. Feel that right hip coming up off the earth. Knees up off to the other side. This windshield wiper ring gives you a really nice side stretch, lateral stretching, diagonal stretching to the hips. Keep going back and forth. When your knees are to the left, maybe your chin goes up to the right, nice and high. Knees up off to the right. Maybe your chin goes to the left, so you're getting a twist in the spine at the same time. Keep going nice and slowly. We're opening the hips and stretching. So this isn't about speed, it's about depth. It's not about flexibility, it's about mobility. People say, I'm not as flexible as that person next to me. You're not meant to be as flexible to that person next to you. You're not even meant to be very flexible if you don't want to be. A better concept, because flexibility sounds like a competition, is just mobility. You want to have mobility so you can walk around the market in your old age, so that you can squat down and pick something up off the floor. Your grandbaby or your pet. Maybe you need to help someone and you need to go down to the floor and help them up. Do you feel this motion just gently in the hips? Next time you're off to the right, let's stay down and bring your weight up onto your seat. Crawl that right or that left foot back. You see what's happening? As you bring that foot back, you're extending your psoas on the left side. You can even feel it if you want. Push that hip, just slowly rock that hip. Up and down. You feel that motion happening? Now your range of motion is going to be just different no matter what. I'm sure my left hip, of course I'm mirroring you, my left hip's not going to be quite so excited to do this, but I'm recovering. Push that hip forward Plant the right hand, left hand to the sky, and turn to the back of your mat and reach to the corner of the sky, nice and high. So there's a twist here. You're also making a nice long line between that left hand, down your armpit, the side body. Picture it right there in the psoas in your hip, and all the way down to that left kneecap. Reach, reach, reach. And maybe from here, drop that left hand down to the earth. Could you bring it down and bring your torso down, lying over your right thigh, nice and low. Now reach with that left hand up. We're going to untwist. Placing the hand by your hips. Bring your feet back up. Again, feet as wide as the mat. Let's do a couple of windshield wipers here. That hip that you were folded on top of, now we'll appreciate this opening. Now we stop over on the left side. Left side. Crawl that left foot back. I'm sorry, your right foot, my left. Opening that hip. This is pretty real for me. It feels good. Important. You feel that psoas length there. Beautiful. Sitting your weight up onto that left hip. Right hand to the sky. Let's turn to the back of the mat, the back corner of the mat, and reach to the corner of the sky. Reaching. So it's very active. If you keep crawling that right knee back until you find your fullest length, reaching to the sky, nice and tall. And from here, let's drop that right hand down to the earth, drop that right shoulder down, see if you can square your torso over that left thigh and knee. Nice, close to the earth. Take your time. Allow the release of whatever's tense. Stay in these postures nice and slowly so we get that. Can you reach up to the sky now, back to the corner of the sky? Right hand up, facing the front. You can place the right hand down, bring the knees up. Feet as wide as the mat once again. And we do a little bit of windshield wiping. You got it. We're going to go into a seated twist here now. So this will involve the outside of your hips. It's going to be a spinal twist as well, but it'll be very much the outside of your hips. Take your right foot, cross it under your body. Knee can be a little bit forward, right? And your left hand, or your left leg, you'll hold. So you're going to hold the bottom of your foot and the outside of your knee. And see if you can release all of the muscles of the leg. Whole weight of the legs. Your arms can do all the work. See if you can just drop the leg into your hands, releasing as much of the hip muscle as possible. So you get the muscle out of the way. You can maybe get a little range of motion, but your arms are doing the work. They're holding the weight, and they're pulling it really far, really up, really forward, really down, and you try not to use the leg muscle. Get that muscle out of the way so it's loose. And if you can take the sole of the foot in the elbow, inner elbow, rock the baby here. That's difficult for some. If it's difficult for some, keep your hand on the foot, put your hand on your ankle or your outside shin. If this happy baby, or if this rock the baby feels good for you, do you feel that stretch outside the back of the hip? And it's diagonal, right? If this comes easy to you, or if you want to find something a little deeper, maybe you bring both hands under the calf, palms towards your face or in prayer position. But mostly we want to sit up straight. And what happens when you sit up straight? You're slouchy. When you sit up straight, you're getting a deeper stretch on the outside of that hip. And rock back and forth a little. Again, we're releasing the hip. So take your time. We have fascia that covers our muscles, and the fascia needs to loosen before the muscle will even loosen. So when we hold these postures longer, you get more benefit, of course. Neck is soft, shoulders are relaxed. And see if you can release the hip, that left hip, consciously. Let go of it. Let go of the stress of the muscles, the tension of the muscles. And now let's drop that foot outside the knee. Maybe you have to crawl that right foot over a little bit further. And we're trying to get that left hip down to the earth. And just rock a little bit. And when you try and get that, or when you feel like you kind of got a feel of what that tipping of the pelvis is like, try and keep that left hip down. Left hand goes to the sky. Turn to the left, drop the hand by the hips, bend down and grab that leg inside your elbow, and then sit up as you pull your leg up. And you're opening that outside hip. You feel that opening? There's also a twist. We're dropping the right shoulder down. And we're turning our chin to the left and our spine to the left. If you want to take your left hand and grab it across your belly, pull that burrito around a little bit. That helps. You can get it past that thigh. Trying to keep those right toes. I guess these are your left toes, my right toes, on the earth. You try to keep that foot flat. Feel the difference between pushing down. When you push down on that, do you feel the engagement of the muscles? And relax. Trying to drop that left hip down still. And let's slowly release, turning off now to the other side, the open side. Untwist, nice and slowly. And see if you can bend your elbows and bow down to the earth. Untwist that back. And then come up to seated. Unwrap your legs and let's switch. Take your left leg across the body and bend it. Knee forward. Pull the flesh behind you. I like to pull my calf out of the way, up high. Grab the other foot, grab the other knee, and same thing. See if you can release the muscle of the leg and hold the weight of the leg as much as you can with your arms, your arm strength. And take your arms and move that leg around. Try not to use your leg muscles to do this. You kind of can visualize, maybe, some action in your hip that you're controlling with your hands. Your legs muscles aren't naturally doing it, but you're doing it with your hands. Now once that's a little bit loose, see if you can reach down, put the sole of the foot in the inner elbow, knee in the other inner elbow, sitting up nice and straight, flexed foot, and feel that stretch up the back of the muscle or the back of the hip. You might even feel it where the hip is creasing. I do, but maybe that's just my wonky left hip, your right hip. Cradle the baby a little bit, left and right. Trying to release any muscle tension, maybe with a big inhale. Exhale, some release somewhere. And let's take that foot and cross it over, which means we bring that knee maybe a little bit more to the center of the mat. We'll try to feel what that feels like. Maybe your foot rides up, but this is what it should feel like with your foot on the earth. And then sitting up straight, maybe you rock that right hip down. You feel the pelvis tipping up, down, up, down. That's a lot of muscle, hip muscle here, and a lot of hip muscles here. So try to plant that right hip. I'm actually on a slope, so it's even giving me more, but that's all right. This is the hip I'm really wanting to work more. Right hand on the earth, left hand up to the sky, twist, bend forward, grab that knee, sit up straight, pull that leg up to your chest. Back hand is really close to the hips, so you can sit with a flat back and turn off to the right. All the while pulling with that left arm, pulling that knee into your body. Once again, if you want to grab the flesh and rib cage a little bit and just pull it around the thigh, you might find a deeper twist. Sitting nice and still. And breathe. And pulling that knee into the body. You feel tension somewhere, take a big inhale with me. And exhale right into that spot. One more time. See if you could just sit down. Soften. Right shoulder's relaxed. Chin is to the right. And let's slowly, slowly release, turning off to the open side. Dropping down, drop that right shoulder, lift the left arm, twist the low back. It's such a break right now. It feels good. Even engage your belly, give some opening to the back, the low back. And let's come back up to seated, unwrap your legs. A couple more windshield wipers. Maybe remember the toes are on the edge of the mat, right? Nice and wide. How does that feel? A little bit easier, a little bit juicier. Look off the opposite way the knees are falling. And when you come to center, stop. Bring your feet together, your knees together, your heels close to your pelvis. Hug your knees. I've got limited ability here because of my recovery, but maybe your knees are touching. Just bring your knees closest together as possible. Hug them together, your feet towards your groin, and just drop your head down. Resting your chin on your arms, on your knees. Relax. Take a moment. Let's release out of this posture. Drop your knees open to the side and the soles of the feet together. This is butterfly. Now, if this doesn't feel like a hip opening exercise, I don't know what does. Or posture. Feet together. You can put your hands outside your toes. You can take your thumbs on your big toe pads, arch your feet, and try and peel open like you're opening a book. This kind of opens your legs a little bit more. Sitting up straight is always very helpful. If you want to lean forward, and if you can get your elbows on your inner shins and push down as you lean forward, trying to drop your knees further towards the earth, really opening the pelvis. Butterfly. We'll be doing this reclining a little bit later, laying on our back. They call it bound angle when you're laying on your back. And I really love that, even before I was having a hip issue. And anyway, we'll get to that. All right, let's come up, bring the knees together. Actually, cross your legs and roll over onto all fours. And put your knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. Fingers are really spread wide. Index finger towards the top of the mat, thumbs towards one another. Knees are under the hips, so they're not so wide. And let's just do a couple of cats and cows here to release the back. That was a lot of back work and hip work, but certainly back work. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the tail and chin. Exhale, pull the belly in, tuck the chin and tail. Push the earth away. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, round. And come to neutral spine. Let's plant all the weight on the left side. Lift up your right knee. Knee to nose, and then kick the foot back straight. So it's a half spinal balance, really. Knee to nose and kick back. Knee to nose, kick back. Knee to nose, kick back. This next time when we bend the knee to nose, bring that knee up to the side. Flexing the foot really helps. And bring that knee in circles. You feel that range of motion nice and slowly. There's no speed. Slower is better. Make a big full circle with your kneecap. So your knee is drawing the circle. Go the other way. It's definitely opening. When you use the muscle, you warm it up, and then we stop and stretch it. That will be next. So when you're ready to relax that knee back on the ground, other side, left knee to nose, and extend straight back. Lifting the heel high, round knee to nose, extend straight back. Knee to nose, extend straight back. One more time, knee to nose, extend back. That uses the glute muscle. Now knee to nose, and with that knee bent, bring it out to the side, other side. Hold it there for a minute maybe. That's your gluteus medius, that outside muscle of the thigh, thigh, trying to hold that leg up. Now, pretend there's a pencil on the knee, and you're drawing big circles, nice and slow. The whole range of motion of that hip. Pushing the earth away with your hands the whole while. We don't want to be collapsing. And then, of course, we have to go the other direction. Flexing your foot really helps because you're engaging muscles. We're using the muscles here, like I said, to engage them, to warm them up for our next posture. And let's bring that knee down to the earth. Let's do a quick child's pose, even though that's not the posture I was referring to, just to square off the shoulders and hips. Very quick, like I said. Back up to all fours. Matter of fact, we'll come to standing on our knees. We're going to be doing camel posture. I'm going to turn to my side so you can see a little bit better. Now, if your knees hurt on a hard floor, maybe you're on carpet, if at all your knees hurt, you can always fold your mat like this. Get an extra level layer. If you're the direction of your mat, of course, you just kind of do this. I'm on a rough surface, so I'm going to do this. Hips are as wide, knees are as wide as the hips, so they're not close together. They're wide as the hips. Tops of the feet, let's curl the toes first. So we're going to build this posture. Everyone has a different level of this posture. So, toes are curled under. Hands on the hips, push your pelvis forward. Matter of fact, you can feel your psoas muscles, right? Tuck your hips back. And even grab that whole group of muscles. Do you feel it? That's the group we're talking about. They go up inside your pelvis and attach on your 5 lumbar vertebrae. Come back down, insert in your femur. But we're going to be extending this, so that means we're sitting the pelvis forward, the weight forward. Let's put your hands on your sacrum like you have your hands in your jeans pockets. Pushing the pelvis forward, elbows together, shoulder blades together. Drop your chin. If your neck is okay and you can drop your head back, that's great. There's no prize, there's no benefit. Your hips are still stretching, but you get a nice little feeling in your heart chakra and your throat chakra. Let's take a moment to take a break. Coming back up, dropping down. Just come down to the earth, take a little break. Shimmy and shake your hips. We'll do this 3 times actually. You decide if you want to stay at this level. Maybe that's very much for you. Maybe you want to go on to a little bit deeper level. I'll demonstrate a secondary level. Again, our pelvis is forward, chest is high. Reach back with your right hand to your right ankle, your left hand to your left ankle. Maybe you put a little weight on your fingertips, pushing the pelvis forward, Shoulder blades very close together. Again, tuck your chin if your neck hurts, or drop your neck back, or head back. Pushing forward, heart chakra. Talk about visceral side of the body fully exposed. Your sexuality, all of your vulnerable side, your heart, all of your organs, your rib cage. Open and vulnerable, pushing the pelvis forward, stretching that psoas. With control, maybe you bring your hands up to your hips. Maybe you didn't bring your fingers to your heels. That's totally fine. Drop your hips back down to your heels. Maybe you lean forward. Maybe you release your feet so you can squat a little bit. Just shake and shimmy a little. Whatever it takes. Third time. Now you can stay at your basic level. You can go to that second level. You can go back to the basic level. You can do whatever feels good. The further posture would be, once again, pelvis is forward, as always. You're getting a lot of action in the low back. Don't worry, after this we're going to sit in child's pose for a moment to recover. So pelvis is forward. If you want the further distance from your hands to reach those heels, take the tops of your feet down. Same thing. Reach up one hand at a time or both hands and reach back to your heels, or curl your toes under, or put your hands in your pants pockets again. But we're pushing our pelvis forward no matter where you are. Our shoulder blades are together. The front side of the body is open. You feel the psoas muscle, nice and stretched. You might even feel it a little bit into your belly. That stretch right where your pelvic bony bone is. Maybe not. Deeper you stretch, maybe, or you might feel it from here. Again, with control, hands on the back, drop the hips down, and reach forward to a child's pose. This is going to be a passive child's pose. Knees wide or together, whichever works for you. Toes are touching, drop your hips back. If you want to wrap your arms at your sides, that's great. If you want an active pose with your arms straight at the top of the mat, it just really doesn't matter. Your arms can be crossing your forehead on your forearms. Mostly you're just dropping your belly and your torso and your ribcage down onto the thighs or between the thighs, and just give your back, low back, a little break after that camel posture. From here, let's come up to all fours again. We're going to do some lunging. Now, lunging is like the absolute best for your hip opener, and it's passive if you do it as an assisted. So let's take our left foot up. I'm working with you now. Left side, okay? Look between your hands and swing that left foot up between your hands. You want your knee and ankle to be lined up, right? So when that's there, leave that. Now we're going to crawl our right foot back. Do you see how my leg is straightening and flattening? You go as far back as you can until you are at the extension of your psoas. I'm trying to flatten this here so you can see this nice flat open right side. So we are in a runner's lunge. Pushing your weight, not pushing, but just rocking your weight forward. And you're at your most open lunge. That's a stretch. That's wonderful. You feel that? And just so we can keep it kind of loosey-goosey and like honey, let's exhale the hips back. Straighten the front leg. Inhale forward, chin and chest up, nice and slow. Feel that opening. You're also getting some action on that left hip, of course. Hips back, bow over the front leg. Inhale forward. Exhale back. When we bring our weight forward, let's stay forward again. Weight forward. Fingertips lightly on the earth. Got this full exposed psoas. Let's heel toe that front foot to the left, a little bit to the side of the mat, so we can bring our left arm on the inside. Angle the toes at a 45-degree angle. So just angle those toes just to the corner of the mat, just a little bit. Feeling the motion in that left hip. Now we're talking about the left hip. The right hip is set here in its stretch. Now think about what's happening with the left hip. Play with those toes. You feel that rotation in the hip just from doing that simple thing. Let's stay with our toes at an angle. Now you can stay exactly here, rocking your weight forward. If you want to go into a lizard here, this is a great way to go a little bit further if you've got that space. If you've got blocks, you can use your blocks. You bring your elbows down to the earth. Ah, this feels so good. You're getting a diagonal, beautiful diagonal stretch in the hip there. It's not so much the psoas, but the inner groin and the gluteus. Take a breath. Let's come back up, pushing all fours. Slowly walk that foot to the side and back behind you, pushing back to a nice child's pose. Squaring the hips off again, and up to all fours. I'm going to turn around to show you the other side. So I'm starting on all fours, taking the right leg back and swing it up between the hands. And maybe you have to grab the ankle and just drag it up there. That's fine. Once the knee and ankle are lined up, once again, we crawl that left knee back. Now this is my really real leg, so, but that feels good, nice and easy. And you rock your weight forward, so the opening is on that side of the front psoas. You probably have a little stretching on the back of the right hip as well, the right butt. Let's take a moment here and enjoy the stretch. Relax. Let's exhale the hips back, bring the weight back, point the front leg and bow over. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Next time we're forward, let's stay forward and turn the toes out. Remember that angle I was talking about? Turn the toes out. Feel what that feels like just in your hip socket. And then leave the toes out at a 45-degree angle. The right hand comes inside the foot, and we come down to our lizard on the other side. Your sides are going to be different. Maybe on one side you use props, maybe you don't. The other could be kneading props. Your front left hip is still very open, right? Mine is. And I also feel it on my inner thigh on the right, inner groin, a nice diagonal opening. A couple of deep breaths. And then inhale up. Slowly, slowly. You can rock your hips back. Slowly bring that right foot back. Find your child's pose. Square things off. Coming back up to all fours. I'm going to bring you into frog posture. Now, this is very real for most people. If you're on carpet, it's great. If you're not, you might have a blanket on either side of your mat. But we're going to spread our knees wide. Your feet are flexed. And you're basically coming down on your forearms, whatever is comfortable for you. And your knees go as wide as comfortable. If you're on hardwood floor with blankets, it's nice because they can slide and you can find that position. And you just slowly push your hips back. It's not going to be much motion at all, and it feels pretty real for most people. It's not easy to come out of, and we'll do it very slowly. So just hold on, wait, wait, wait. Sinking your hips back a little bit, maybe forward. Just see what that feels like. And when you're ready to come out of it, now you can stay here as long as you like in a normal practicing situation, but I want to get a couple of other examples for you for the hips in on this class. So come up with your hands, support your weight, rock your hands back a little, and really push into the earth with your arms. You can slowly pull your knees together. Ah, very nice, very nice. Let's sit on our heels. I'm going to bring you into pigeon now. So there's reclining pigeon. Some people consider the forward pigeon a little too much. And there's also reclining pigeon. So I'm going to demonstrate both. And you choose which one suits your body. You're the yogi. It's your class. It's your body. It's your mat. It's your time. So reclining pigeon, we lay on our backs. Bending your knees, feet are flat on the floor. And let's start with the right foot. You take your right ankle up over your knee of the left, making that number 4, that upside down number 4, or that triangle. And reach up over your head on a nice big stretch. And then when you bring your arms forward, that right arm goes in the triangle you made, and your left hand comes outside your shin, your thigh, and you interlace your fingers behind the thigh. If that's a little not easy, but if you're not getting much stretch, you can also bring your hands to your shins. But I want to make sure that your head and shoulders are relaxed and down towards the earth. And you might feel the stretch here now on your right outside hip. Some people take their elbow and push on it a little bit. You want to keep that right foot flexed and just let the left foot dangle. Reclining pigeon. And just relax here, pulling on that left leg. If you're doing a forward pigeon, I like to go into it from a down dog. So your hips come up. We're going to start again with the right foot, just like the people reclining. Bring that right leg up behind you. Bring your knee up to your wrist. Bring your ankle towards your left wrist, and then put the shin down on the earth. Walk your left hip or left knee back until you're quite open. And from here, square your hips and come down. Forearms to the earth. You can bring your forehead down. And while you're relaxing here, just take this in for what it's worth. Some schools, some lineages tell you to grab that foot and haul it forward so that you're parallel to the front of your mat. This can be really risky for knees, especially aging knees or previously injured knees, or any knee, to be honest. So just coming forward, the reason I bring my knee up with the muscles and angle my ankle and then just drop down, that's a natural position without grabbing it and moving it around. So it's a more gentle way to respect your knee, right? So we just relax here. So those of you who are reclining pigeon, release your hands, undo your legs, cross your left ankle over the right. So we're going to the other side. Stretch your arms way up over your head, thread the needle the other direction, and grab your right leg with your hands. For those of us who are in the forward pigeon, curl your back toes under. Step back. I'm not going to be able to do this with much strength. Step back to your down dog. And we go to the other side once again. So the left leg's coming up, left knee to the left wrist, and then pull your ankle across until your muscles stop, and then drop that shin down. Drop the right knee down and shimmy that knee back. I'm a little challenged here on a bunch of rocks and on a slope, but I'm sliding around. This is a funky side for me. It's the one I'm working on, so I'm going to be very gentle. I'm going to hold back. Actually bringing my ankle back towards my groin a little bit to help take some pressure away. But it feels good. Those with the reclining pigeon, flex your left foot. Let your right foot dangle. When you're in the forward pigeon, again, you're probably down already, but you bring your arms down, your forehead on your arms, relax and just settle in. Take a breath and exhale someplace that's resisting. No matter where you are, come out of your posture and find your way on your back. Everyone on their backs now. So you've untwisted your legs, all your reclining pigeon people, and we're laying on our backs. From your back, we're going to come into happy baby. So you pull your knees into your rib cage, slide your hands up the outside of your feet, pull your kneecap into your armpits. Your thighs are on either side of your rib cage. Do you feel that? Nice stretch in the back of the hips, inner groin. Definitely. You can rock side to side if you like. Head is down on the earth, shoulders are down on the earth. You're pulling the feet so that your knees come down towards the earth. Now maybe from here you straighten one leg or the other off to the side like a V. Now this is going to be more like a stretching of the back of the legs, but you're also exercising the hip muscles to do this. It's a little tough for me, but it feels good. I'm just at my edge. I'm not in a full extension. Let's release your feet, release them down to the earth. We'll come into bridge pose. So your feet are near your hips, your palms of your hands are down, your arms are down. You push your arms and shoulders into the earth, which kind of raises your chest, and push your hips up. That is a nice opening to the front side of the body. You feel that? Beautiful. You're using your glutes as strength to push the hips forward and up. All the weight is in your feet, and pushing down into the earth with your arms opens your chest. Let's slowly roll one vertebrae at a time down onto the earth. When you get to your low back, tuck your pelvis. When the low back is on the earth, then you release the pelvis. One more time, hips up. If you have a block or a nice solid pillow or bolster or something for a home practice, this is a great place to put it under your hips. Some people can get their hands, if you have kind of short forearms, you can prop up your hips with your wrists and do a supported bridge. And that way you take a little strength away and your muscles can relax. Maybe you even straighten your feet out in front of you a little bit and just open the front side of your body. Again, having a solid, this is where blocks come in handy with your practice. But if you can use your wrists like this, that can be enjoyable. No matter where you are, let's come out of it. Rolling your shoulder blades wide and rolling your back down slowly, one vertebrae at a time. You got it. Let's roll off to our side, push ourselves up. A very important posture for hips is malasana. Malasana is tough for some people, but you squat your hips and sit down. Try and get your hands in prayer position, your elbows inside your knees, and just squat. 2/3 of the world solve their daily problems sitting like this. Imagine if you got off your desk chair, or your lazy chair, or your kitchen table chair, and squatted a little bit every day. It'd probably be quite loose in our hips. Just not in our culture, is it? It's quite a challenge to some. If it is, you can spread your legs, feet a little wider, or if your heels are up, you can put a rolled up towel under your heels for support. Look at Just sit here and watch your favorite TV program a little bit and forget you're squatting. Maybe 20 minutes goes by and you're, wow. And let's place our hands on the earth. Raise your hips very, very slowly to that forward bend. Straightening your legs if you have that in your practice, no prize for it. And the final posture I want to do is, let's come down to the earth. I'd like to spread our legs wide. I'm going to adjust my mats here a little bit so that you have a better view. But you on your mat at home, just stay on your mat or on your carpet, whatever it takes. We're going to spread our legs apart. If it means putting your hands behind your hips and pushing your pelvis forward to get that opening, that's great. Pull the flesh behind you, as little as their ability to do that is, because there's a lot of weight right on your pelvis right now. So with our legs nice and spread wide, place your hands on your shins, drop your right shoulder, pull your left back, and lean forward. Pull the right shoulder back. Push the left shoulder forward and pull the right back. Leaning forward. You feel that opening, that ultimate stretch in your hips. After all that hip work, hopefully this isn't too much for you. Let's switch to the other side. Drop the right shoulder, pull the left back. Maybe look over that left shoulder. One more time to the other direction, dropping the left shoulder, pulling the right back, looking over the right shoulder. Now you could stay in this position for quite a while, much like a malasana. You choose if you're practicing on your own or just sitting on the living room floor with your book in front of you. Just relax for a while. But for now I'm going to bring you into Shavasana. Take a moment, roll back, pull your legs together, and just lie down on your back. Take a moment, legs apart, feet apart, hands open to the sky, and just lie there for a moment. And while you're lying there, I just want to recap. These are all hip opening and stretching exercises. You can take any and all, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or take an hour-long practice. When you're feeling some stress or a little anxiety, or your posture's just not feeling good, your back's a little tight, it's a fantastic way to loosen up your hips. Maybe it's a way to release some of that emotion, some of that junk drawer of family emotion. And you can feel better, stand taller, stand prouder, stand more confidently. I want to thank you for joining me today. Enjoy your Shavasana, as long as you choose to lie there. And until next time, may you always know your truth. May you always speak your truth. May you always live your truth. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.